What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTP Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. If you want to see that daily Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell as well if you want to get notified every single time I upload a brand new video. Now, in this video, I need to preface it right away, okay, and say that this video, the title of this video, it's not saying that it is better than if the Ravens won, okay? Baltimore losing to Cincinnati can be a good thing for the Baltimore Ravens. That does not mean that losing to the Cincinnati Bengals is better than beating them. Okay, so I need to preface that right away so I don't get people commenting, "Oh no, losing's never better than winning." Yes, winning is better. However, some losses can be beneficial to a team. Okay, and I just had to get that preface out there. And then just kind of in other news, going to be streaming on Wednesday if you guys want to come to that. We've typically been streaming around 7:45 Eastern time. If you guys want to come through to that, just talk about, kind of some midweek thoughts, obviously going into the bye week, talk with all of you about different things going on with the Ravens. But now let's get into the meat of this video and talk about why the Ravens losing to the Bengals can actually be seen as a positive. Look at the positives from this game, because I think that the Baltimore Ravens, after week one, the things that they went through, it almost seemed like they were on top of the world. Nothing bad could happen to this team. You see the Kansas City Chiefs game. They go in there. Lamar Jackson puts the team on his back, gets that 1-yard run, seals the deal. Also, counting it, Adafe away, gets the forced fumble on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You go into the next week, you're playing the Detroit Lions, and they're not an amazing team, but you're missing some players, and you go out there and you're losing. All of a sudden, it's 4th and 19. Sammy Watkins over the middle of the field. Justin Tucker lines up for the longest field goal in NFL history, kicks it off the upright and in. It's good. They still can't lose. They go out, they play the Indianapolis Colts, and they're out there and they are sitting there and they're down 25-9. They're down 22-3. And what do? Lamar Jackson puts the team on their back. They start moving the ball. They start throwing the ball down the field. Hollywood gets going. Mark Andrews gets going. And they go out there and they beat the Colts on a great comeback. And they're riding so high. They're this team they can't be beat. And here come the Chargers, right? And everybody's looking at this Chargers team. Wow, there's the two top teams in the AFC right now, in terms of record. Them and the Bills is going to be, potentially AFC championship game. All of this stuff. It's being hyped up as this massive game. What do the Ravens do? They come in and they curb stomp the Chargers, right? I mean, at this point, the hype for the Baltimore Ravens hasn't been higher. It was higher than any point it ever was last year. It's only rivaled by Lamar Jackson MVP year, 12 consecutive win Ravens. That's the only way that you can compare it. And the team, it just seemed like they believed that nothing bad was going to happen. Obviously they still have that mentality. Lamar's not going to go out there and be like, "Oh, easy game against the Bengals." They weren't saying anything like that, but it just, the energy and everything like that from the fans, from the media, it just seemed like this was a team that couldn't be beat. And that was the same type of energy that was being created in 2019. Okay. And unfortunately, when a team is that hot, as hot as the Ravens have been the last couple of weeks, just absolutely just willing themselves. Lamar Jackson's been so hot, willing themselves to all these victories. You don't want to go through a season without any negative setbacks. This right here is a massive setback at the perfect time. Because when you have a setback, whether it be an injury, whether it be a crucial loss, whether it be a complete letdown, if you don't have time to think about it, it's not going to resonate nearly as much with the team. Whereas when you're going into a bye week and this Baltimore Ravens team is sitting there thinking about that game. I mean, that's all they got this week. Yes, they're going to focus on Minnesota, but they're thinking, what do we need to do better? And they're analyzing everything. The offensive line, trouble blocking. Marlon Humphrey tweeted out, he's like, "Man, I allowed 250 yards. Got to get back in the lab." He's thinking about getting better. The secondary, how do they get better? How do we improve the tackling from the linebackers? How do we improve the pass rush? Everything is circulating, not just through the players' minds, not just through the fans' minds, not just through ownership's minds, but the coaches' minds. Everybody's thinking, how do you get better? And if you don't have that type of moment with a team, it's going to become very difficult for you to be gelling later on in the year. And I think the moment for the Baltimore Ravens in the MVP year, by Lamar Jackson, you have to look at it and you go, okay, yeah, they lost to the Chiefs. Then they lose to Cleveland. And that was a heartbreaking loss for the Ravens, okay, losing to Cleveland in week 4. And they're trying to bounce back, right? And eventually they go after a guy named Marcus Peters. And Marcus Peters was the bounce back, right? They brought him in and we saw everything change. And they were able to ride that momentum. They created momentum and everything happened like that. Because they were able to bounce back. Yes, the Ravens in week 1 had a tough loss, but it's okay to have multiple setbacks in a season. Okay. It's just not allowing those setbacks to get the best of you. If you lose a player and you lose 4 weeks in a row, that's when the setback gets the best of you. But when you lose 1 week and then you get a bye week and you're able to bounce back and you're able to come out, have a strong, the Ravens would be a strong week 8 performance against the Vikings. Like that setback could help you in the long run. It's like a trampoline effect. You got to drop down onto the trampoline to be able to get a little bit higher. And the Ravens, I think they need to look at this as something where they can absolutely improve. And whether they improve by the coaching staff making some changes and saying, hey, let's focus on this. Maybe we don't blitz as much. I don't know exactly what it could be. This is something for Wink Martindale. This is something for Greg Roman. This is something for John Harbaugh to figure out, but I'm just throwing out some options right here. Hey, maybe Patrick Queen isn't playing on third downs and it's Josh Bynes or something like that. Or maybe Josh Bynes is just playing more with Patrick Queen because Patrick Queen's 2 highest graded games as a Raven this year have both been in games in which Josh Bynes has played next to him. And maybe the Ravens look at that and like, hey, Josh Bynes should be out there a little bit more. Maybe it's Chris Westry returning. Maybe it's Nick Boyle returning. All these types of things are possibilities for the Ravens to look at as things that can propel them into the next stage of the season. But something's going to happen. And if the Ravens aren't able to bounce back, then the season, it was never going to be a successful season if they can't bounce back from one loss. And I fully expect them to be able to bounce back from one loss. And it's not like it was a loss to a terrible team. The Bengals are good. And the benefit is it's a divisional opponent. They get to play them again. I believe they play them. It's the third to last game of the season. So I believe that's week 16 is the third to last game of the season. They play against the Bengals again. Hey, that's when you're trying to fight for that playoff spot. Maybe they're fighting for the division. And they're able to look back at that moment because what was the second time the Ravens played the Browns in Lamar's MVP year? They lost that first one, but that second one, they weren't losing because they were able to look back at a particular moment in time. And this Ravens team, it's like it changes so often week to week. They're getting Sammy Watkins back. Like they're getting all of these guys and they're going to be able to look at this game and they're going to be able to build upon it. And they're going to be able to figure out things about themselves, things about this team that it's going to help them in the long run. Okay, I understand that, it's a tough loss. Everybody hates losing. Everybody hates especially losing to rivals and divisional opponents. But I said, Joshua and I were talking about it before the game in the live stream. We said, if they lose this game, it's not the end of the world. It's early in the year. It's a divisional opponent. Divisional games can always go either way. Don't care who the teams are. Unless it's Aaron Rodgers against the Packers, that's the only exception. It seems like to the divisional opponents rule, but overall, it's okay. And the Ravens are going to have to look at this and build back. You look at Lamar Jackson. Every time something negative has happened, he's rebounded stronger, and that's not just in losing overall games. That's individual plays. Lamar throws a pick. What happens that next drive? He bats that chest and he goes out there and he has a great next drive. He bounces back. He's a guy that bounces back. And this team rides and dies with Lamar Jackson, and he's going to bounce back. And he's going to bounce back better. That's what he's always done his entire career. And this team should bounce back better because of this loss. Now, obviously, winning the game would have been better. They'd be sitting, number 1 seed in the AFC, only one lost team in the AFC, all this great stuff. But there's still some benefits to losing the game that you can look at as something that can help this team in the future. Obviously, sucks to lose, but take the positives. Rashad Bateman looked great, all those types of things. But thank you, everybody, for watching. Subscribe for more Daily Ravens content. Let me know what you guys think. Any other positives coming out of this game? Just as like a concept of, hey, the Ravens lost. I'll talk about other things. I'll probably make a video on Bateman this week. I'll make a video talking about probably Anthony Averett in the secondary and everything like that. I'll talk about a couple things this week. We got a bye week, no game to preview or anything like that. So I'll be talking about a lot of the stuff. Thanks, everybody, and I will see all of you again tomorrow.